We're recording now. Episode 173 GSC. The boys are, what is this, 2 episodes in 3 weeks. So that means that we're on a streak.
We recorded four of them in 3 weeks or five of them in 3 weeks. So, I feel
Yeah,
like that's
maybe
a good
that's
thing.
true. Yeah, that's a true good point.
Some
Yeah,
technical
we were just
difficulties.
saying, yeah, we were just saying off air that the storm is coming in Cali right now for us, NorCal.
Dude, the night train cometh.
Night train cometh.
I got
So
a
if you hear
question
any
for you.
thunder,
Before, like 3 years ago, did you ever in your life hear the term atmospheric river?
uh, I don't think so. Is this the new weatherman buzzword?
Yeah, man. I think it was okay. So, like during COVID, there's all the fires and all the smoke, and it was all right. And then after that, like the next year, I believe it was like the next year, we had like this super wet season, right? Like it just rained a shit ton. Like it rained more in that one year than it had in like the previous like 6 years combined or something, right? And they
Yeah.
kept saying this like it's an atmospheric river. And everyone's like, oh man, that sounds intense. But like, what does that even mean, right? It's just like rain clouds, you know? And anyway, ever since then, I feel like every time it's gonna rain, they're like, another atmospheric river coming to Northern California. It's like the fear mongering of just saying like it's gonna be kind of wet for a few days.
Yeah. Does it mean like there's like a river in the sky? It's just so much water that there's a
That,
river in the sky. There's a guy in a boat fucking walking by.
that's the implications. That's the implications. That's exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny. It's one of those things. Never, I don't think I ever heard that term. It's like someone used it or said it that one year, and then ever since then, every time there's like a major storm coming, it's like I do remember when we were younger. Is like there's the El Nino seasons. I remember one year they're making a big deal about it, like, oh, this El Nino is gonna shake your nips right off. Like, hang on to your tits because those things are gonna be flying. And then it was fine. It was just like, and then it was like a normal year, like not really a big deal. And I was like, oh, interesting. But yeah, now it's atmospheric river. So watch out, atmospheric river out there. So be ready.
Yeah, it's coming down. The
It's coming down,
what came down, dude, through my household was fucking influenza. Took the whole house out.
dude. Atmospheric influenza.
Atmospheric influenza, dude. It was far worse than the COVID. Um, the COVID flu. It was way worse.
Dude, apparently it's hitting everybody. One of my kids said they overheard their teacher talking to one of her teacher friends that's at another school. And at that other school, there was like 100 kids were absent, and there's only like 500 kids at the school. Like it's like a small, right? So you're
I
talking
believe
like
it.
20% of the student body is just at home, sick.
Yeah. And
I
that's just
suggest, yeah, we just got to start wearing masks everywhere we go. That's probably the best way to handle it.
yeah, I think mask is the solution, and then probably just maybe we shouldn't leave our house for like 6 months.
I'm thinking I might shelter in place. Otherwise, because the good thing about that is it'll help me weather not only the influenza, it'll also help me weather this atmospheric river.
Yeah, you don't want to get wet and you don't want to get sick, so you might as well just stay inside forever.
Well, because if you get wet, that makes you sick, right? Like you can't go outside when it's raining because if you get wet, bacteria just magically enters your body more prominently.
I'm just being distracted by how much lightning there really is going on right now. It's like an absurd amount. Anyways,
Huh.
the I got a couple topics here for us.
Let's get into it. Let's get
Yeah, I
into it.
wanted to start off with it's kind of like a marketing conversation, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but have you seen all the buzz right now going on of the Rogue versus Nike?
I've seen none of it.
Really? Okay. Well,
Catch
to
me up. Catch me up. What's going on?
catch you up to speed, um, Rogue posted this very direct, very in your face, like uh, I guess real video
Hmm.
video content of their barbell in a durability test versus a Nike barbell.
That's right, because
And
the Nike's making equipment now.
yeah, And the price points, from what I read in the comments and some other people like Garage Gym Reviews and other people that have reshared this video and or have done some kind of reaction to this content, the price points are the same. You can get an Ohio
Hmm.
bar for $295. I think you can get the Nike bar for $290. Anyways, the video features like a stress test,
Right.
and it's like repetitive use. I think it's supposed to emulate like barbell drops, whatever.
It
And
simulates the jackhammer drill.
the jackhammer drill. It's like if you gave John North this barbell for 25 minutes, like
Yeah.
which one would survive?
Hmm.
Um, anyways, the video is very, very aggressive because the Nike bar just completely explodes and shatters in half as the Rogue barbell takes 10x the reps, and the video just cuts off because it never breaks.
Right.
Right. So the whole video is basically like a shot directly at Nike. It has their logo on the video, everything. Like it's like, hey, your barbells are pieces of shit, and
Right.
Rogue is superior. Um. Anyways, it's obviously making some noise because you know people are talking about it. People are reposting it.
Yeah.
It's probably the biggest news of the week, I would say, in the CrossFit weightlifting kind of fitness space. Not really
Yeah.
much else going on right now, but yeah, I just woke up to that and I'm like, oh man, like they're just like going for it.
Well, they're expanding right now. I don't know if you saw that,
I did
but
not. No.
they're God, are they moving again? I think they're moving again. Anyway, I saw something about basically their like square footage is they're blowing it out. Like they're moving into a location that it's like something like two times the size of their current location, right? And I've been to that current location and it is massive, right? I'm talking, I believe it's like 800,000 square feet or something ridiculous like that, right? And they're moving, like they're out of space, need more space. Like they're moving to another location. It's like they're still growing. Like Rogue is still growing, still doing
Well,
their
I mean,
thing, man.
I don't think I've seen a recent video online in any gym setting, any traditional gym setting that's not a 24-hour fitness or like a Crunch Fitness where they have kind of, the same brands, where I don't see a Rogue piece of Rogue equipment. It's just
For sure.
became it just became the number one. It's in every gym, every boutique gym, let me say. And it's even in the there was a California Family Fitness down here. That's kind of was the main chain. They changed the name now to fuck, I don't remember. But anyways, it's the big giant local chain.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
that's huge, massive as far as size goes. But they got Rogue stuff there. You know what I mean? So it's like
Well,
they got a Rogue section for people that want to
yep.
train, you know, weightlifting and all that other stuff.
I kind of feel like you have like Fringe Sport who mostly does garage gym type stuff, right? Like that's kind of, you mostly get those in garage gyms. And then I feel like there's like Soren X does mostly like schools. Like if you're setting up like a college or maybe a high school weight room, maybe you do the Soren X type stuff, right? And then outside, and then everything else is Rogue. And let's to be clear, Rogue will also do those other things. Rogue also does the garage stuff. Rogue also does some high school and college build outs and stuff, right? But I feel like when I think of like equipment, like if someone's like, hey, where can I get like a well put together, like squat rack, barbell, weight set, maybe some whatever that type of stuff, they'd be like, yeah, like Rogue is the go-to, and then like, yeah, maybe Fringe Sport, maybe Soren X, like they're kind of a little more in like powerlifting type stuff. Like it's for, and like I said, a lot of colleges use Soren X stuff because Bert Soren knows a lot of strength coaches and that type of thing, right? But I mean, yeah, who else is it? Like, who else is there? Like, other people have kind of come and gone. It's one of those things. Like, again, Faster was, kind of at one point, I felt like Again Faster and Rogue
Again,
were kind of like,
faster. I haven't
were
heard that
like
in a while.
yeah, they were like neck and neck with Rogue for a while, or it felt like it anyway. And then
Yeah, or at
Rogue
least,
just
yeah. I
kind
mean,
of,
I'm sure it just felt like it. And
I'm
I know they had
well,
the,
I'm talking 15 years ago, right? Like that's the
yeah,
thing. Like, um,
yeah.
and
But like
then
they weren't even, every regional event, everything was always Rogue, right, from the jump.
yeah, Yeah.
every Wadapalooza, every all that stuff. I mean, I remember their big push was kind of the Klokov line, and the Klokov was like their main guy, right?
That was towards the end, right? Like before that, even they were. Anyway, there was a time, at least in my mind, I could be wrong, but there was a time where it was kind of like, if you're looking for a barbell, like check out Rogue, you check out Again Faster, and like that was kind of the thing. But then Rogue overtook them pretty quick. It didn't last long, But
Yeah.
but they were a player. They were a player for a while,
Did they even
and
make?
then
But did they even make like rigs?
no. So that was the differentiator. Is they were doing shit. Maybe they did. They may have. But I feel like that was Rogue's big differentiator is the steelwork, is
Yeah.
like the rigs. And once they got their little system to also once they got the system together, like the Monster Act system, where you just string up pull-up bars that are on 4 foot, 6 foot increments, you know what I mean? So the squat racks built into the pull-up rigs, like once they started making those and all the interchangeable parts for that shit, it is like unlocked everything. Like that was what just like launched them, right? Because I'm sure there's someone had done it before, but they were the first ones to, like do that in mass and really make it like a popular thing, right? Like, hey, you pick the length of your pull-up bar, doubles the squat racks, fucking done. Because
Yeah.
before, dude, like
mean,
we
I
said,
mean, yeah.
my first CrossFit gym, our first gym, I mean, we had pull-up bars and we had squat racks. You know what I mean? Like they weren't there wasn't like a rig where it was connected together. It was a whole separate thing, and then when we moved, we bought that. That was when it was first kind of happening, like 2010, when they first started like really doing that more and more. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that was what just set the game apart, and then that just fueled everything.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that from just kind of being in a hundreds and hundreds of gyms. The the trend early trend was the separated pull-up bars, like the steel metal
Yeah,
bars. Like even some gyms had like full areas of like connected like long sections of pull-up bars. And then
yeah,
yeah, everybody pulled out their individual racks.
yeah. The
You know,
little cheap,
there
shitty.
was the corner with like all the friggin'
Yep,
squat racks. Squat rack. Go
yep,
squat rack.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like that's like gone now. Or it was like if you went to some places they might have had like 4 or 5 kind of cage style setup
right.
um what's it called? Uh squat pull up slash squat racks. But they
Sure. Yeah,
weren't
yeah, yeah.
necessarily built for doing CrossFit style training. It was more like a powerlifting. It was like an accessory. You could do some strict
Yeah.
pull ups on it. It wasn't
It's
made to
a
be
yeah.
moved.
It was a squat cage that also had a pull-up bar on the outside. It
Yeah,
wasn't like
and
a structure that was meant to be dual purpose. Dude,
yeah,
I'll tell you this, the first when I started building out my home gym, the first squat rack I had, I made myself. All
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Now get ready for this just absolutely shady, dangerous shit. But it works great. It's I went to the Home Depot. I got 2 buckets, 2 bags of cement, and some 4x4s. And then that was it. I mean, that's all you need. Just add water and you're set, man. And so like I
it's a
put the
quality.
posts, yeah, put the post in buckets of cement, and then made sure they were like, and I cut them so it was my height. So this is a if you have to be my height. If you're not 5'11" and 7/8, the squat rack will not work for you. Just to be
Yeah,
clear. And, and, and so uh, with lifting shoes on. Anyway, so then yeah, and then I didn't do like on the side. I went because I needed to go straight down because it's just a bucket on the bottom. I don't have a lot of lateral like support here, and so I just V notched into the tops of the 4x4s. And
yeah,
so
super
and so the
strong.
and and the barbell just sat right on top of the 4x4s. And so when you go to rack it, you got to be precise. There's no like finding the back of the rack and sliding it down. Like you got to place that motherfucker right into these V cuts on the top of the 4x4s. And you know what, dude? I squatted 400 pounds out of that bitch. So, I don't really see what the
Yeah,
problem was.
no, for sure. No, yeah, that's classic. That's the classic. You have to move one bucket at a time, line
Oh,
them
you got
up.
it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was part of the trick is lining them up. You put the bar in there, you're like, oh, I don't like that angle. You got to slide this one back a little bit, you know.
Yeah, that's just too twisted.
Uh
Oh
huh.
man, that's funny, dude.
Dude,
Yeah, I've
Donnie
seen.
Schenkel tells the story all the time why he got so strong. Is high school weight room. They're doing power cleans or something or whatever, and basically someone else beat him. And he couldn't do it. He got pinned. He got pinned in the bottom of it. Wasn't power clean. It must have been clean. He got pinned in the bottom of a clean or a squat, one or the other. And he said he was so fucking embarrassed, right? Like took it personally. And so he went home in his backyard, built a squat rack out of cinder blocks, just like stair stepped them up. So there's a couple different layers, whatever, and stacked up cinder blocks in his backyard, and then went out there and used it as a squat rack and squatted in these cinder blocks every single day to get stronger because he didn't want to ever be like feel embarrassed like that again. And he's like, he was in Louisiana. He goes, you know what? I haven't been back home since Hurricane Katrina came. The house got wiped out, but I guarantee you that squat rack's still there. cinder blocks. He said he filled them with cement. This thing was fortified. He built like a bomb shelter to squat out of.
Oh shit, that sounds like a
Dude,
great Donnie story. The
home homemade gym equipment. While I'm on this kick, yet also what I did was for a pull-up bar in the ceiling of my garage is there's those ones that everybody has. I think you might have one, right? Like the pull-up bars that go into your studs and then or up your trusses,
no,
whatever.
I got the no, I don't have that.
Okay.
No,
What
I don't have that.
you know what I'm talking about though?
I know exactly what you're
I
talking
forget
about.
the yeah.
Ones that come
And
off
so,
the wall.
so but yeah, but live off the wall. Oh, yours off the wall. Okay. But before they had those ones too, or before they were as popular, and it's the same thing. I'm like trying to do this and do it on the cheap and just using what we got. Went to the hardware store, a galvanized pipe, and I just got some thing of galvanized pipe and threaded on both ends. And I twisted on some elbows and then some up pipes and then like the flange at the top. And I did lag bolted that shit straight up into the trusses of my garage.
Oh yeah, you mean
And
like the ones that people like kind of have like in the middle of the garage?
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
through the yeah. Oh yeah, that's a
Stud bar.
classic
The
one.
the rolling stud bar is what it's called, right? Stud bar,
Yeah,
pull up bar, because it
yeah,
goes into the studs, whatever.
yeah. No,
And
I
so
don't have one of those.
I just made my own out of galvanized pipe and just fitted it in and lag bolted it straight in there. And I'll tell you what, man, like it held. Same thing. It worked great. But then also eventually I replaced both these things with store bought ones that perform much better.
Yeah,
But
but you got to do what you
you
got to
can
do.
you can make it work on the cheap if that's what you're trying to do. If that's what you need to do.
My pull up kind of at home pull up system all started with the door jam pull up that you can buy for like $40.
Oh yeah.
Remember the little door
Sweet man.
jam? You can just throw it in your
Yeah. Oh
fucking
yeah.
way, and dude, that's what started it all for me. I would use that thing every single day, just doing strict pull ups. I do regular pull ups. I would do the whatever these are called, like the hammer grip style kind of pull ups. I
Yeah.
had like the one that
Yeah.
came out.
Pistol grip.
Um, yeah, pistol grip, the pistolas. But no, mine now I have like that folding. I have that like folding Rogue squat rack that has the
Oh
built-in
yeah.
pull up bar or whatever that never ever gets folded in. But if I had to, it could.
Yeah. Let me tell you another homemade piece of equipment that I did before I bought a kettlebell. Is I did like basically like a homemade kettlebell. I called it my ghetto bell. And so for the ghetto bell, what you need some galvanized pipe, and you go take a trip down to either you'd see it a lot at garage sales, or I went to Play It Again Sports, and they're super cheap. Is the weight plates that have the little skinny middles,
Mm-hmm.
like for your piece of shit bench press thing that you bought at Big Five or whatever that doesn't have like
Yep.
the real weight plates. So you get a bunch of this. So I needed 53 pounds, and so I just got five tens, and then like a two and a half of those plates, and then I just basically made a C out of galvanized pipe, a C shape, and then on the
Mm-hmm.
bottom one, I stacked on those weight plates. I got the pipe that fits right in the middle, like the 1 inch, stacked them right on there, capped it up, put some washers, capped it off so it's solid, and now you got a little ghetto bell. You can swing that thing. Wouldn't recommend snatches with it, but you could do it. But if you're just looking to do
Oh, because you got the weights to play it against sports. I was gonna say
Yeah.
like that sounds like it would be the same price as buying a kettlebell, but
Oh no,
not from the Play It Again Sports. You get those for like
dude.
25 cents a pound.
Yeah, probably less than that, dude. Honestly, like I think I or like garage sales, you pick them up for like whatever. Like here's $5 for all these
Yeah,
weights. You
take
know what I mean,
take
or something
all
like
these
that.
out of here, dude.
I
Yeah, they
think
have
like
the shitty little screw-on end if you wanted
ex-
for like the super thin barbell that's like
yeah,
3 feet long. It's like, what do I do with this?
exactly. Yeah, dude.
Classic.
So yeah, so I think, dude, I think it was like for like $10 between like the pipe and these little weights, and I made these like I made a 53 or a 55 pound one, and then like a 30 pound one. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
man, I was it
that's
was a
funny.
ghetto fit, but dude, shit
The
works.
only equipment I ever built was a sandbag out of like an old duffel bag and like duct tape and
Oh, there you
sand.
go.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was like it was like an old shitty duffel bag. I had it at my this is when I lived with my dad still, and just filled that bitch up. I don't even know how much it weighed, and then I just taped the shit out of it with a bunch of like black duct tape, and that was the sandbag. And just pick it was decent length. You just pick it up, throw it on the shoulder. It worked. It
Dude,
broke
I did
probably after like a year or so,
made a
and then thrown away.
medicine ball. I took a basketball, cut a slit in it, filled it with like sand and pea gravel, whatever, and then sewed it up, taped it up, and like there you go. If you're doing med ball cleans, wall balls, you don't want to miss that one. That'll leave a mark.
It's just
But
all uneven. Just
oh
there's no
yeah,
properly distributed weight in that.
no, none. It was terrible, but it was. I'll tell you, man. Maybe better off.
Everybody's too soft now with all these options of equipment.
I blame
Everything's
Rogue.
everything's too cush. Everything's too cush.
Well, that's why what people. Okay, it's time for the big reveal, Dean.
Mm.
Time for the big reveal. This
Oh yeah.
entire segment has been an advertisement for Nike weightlifting, for Nike equipment.
Yeah.
Is you don't want these safe Rogue barbells, this safe Rogue equipment that can withstand. You want a bar in your hands where you don't know if this bitch is gonna take it or not, right? Like this thing
This
may
could be
break.
the last one.
It's maybe this may be your last jerk ever,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so that keeps you, because the worst thing that can happen to a man is he loses his edge. And so you can't have too much safety. You got to keep a little uncertainty in your life. So go pick up that Nike barbell and just ride the lightning and see how long it lasts.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I think that's the move. You just like that one day where it just pops right under your chin and just cuts you open, and you just bleed out in the garage.
Oh my
It's
God.
have you seen those? I think we might have talked about this before with like the memes where uh it's like a picture of like a snowy like a peaceful snowy landscape, and it's like men like it's like guys like fantasizing about like bleeding out here. Like it'd be like a good place to bleed out and like slowly die. I can't remember, but they were hella funny.
Yeah.
Anyways, that reminds me of that. Just going out,
Yeah.
bleeding in the garage. Like a Cohen Brothers movie.
You
Um,
ever, you ever, while working out, you ever had a piece of like either a piece of equipment break on you that kind of fucked you up, or just like did something wrong or whatever? Like maybe other than missing a box jump, right? I think everyone's kind of missed a box jump and doing the old shin scraper. Like outside of
mm,
that, have you ever like hurt yourself with the equipment, or seen somebody do something that was not good? What's the
well,
worst thing you've ever seen?
the worst thing I ever did personally that like took me out of training for like 4 months was when I PR'd my strict press 200 pounds, and then I like when I bailed it, it hit off the squat rack that was like kind of in front of me because I took it off the rack
That's
and stepped
right.
back, and then like I was like so tired because it was kind of grindy, and I had my hands on my knees, and like the barbell's coming at me. I like lazily tried to step over it as it was turning towards me, caught my toe on the barbell, but like not enough to like register that I had caught my toe, and I need to like adjust my footing and just put all my weight down on my ankle and just completely rolled my ankle, and it swelled up like size of a softball, and I was fucked for like 4 months. I
That's
I
right.
couldn't squat. Yeah.
Mess up your jerks.
Yeah, it sucked. I was fucking pissed, but it was cool. I hit that 200-pound strict press though.
That's good. That's heavy, man.
Yeah.
Anything like body weight or over is
Oh shit! At
hard.
that point, that was fucking
Oh, the
30
30
pounds.
pounds of body weight.
30
Yeah.
pounds over body weight. Yeah, that was one of my biggest like feats of pure strength. Because I've always been like more of an efficient lifter, but that was like
Yeah.
one of my biggest strength feats for sure. I was pumped, and even though like that happened, I was like, it was totally worth it.
Yeah. 200 pounds.
What
One
about
time I saw Spencer Mormon one time. I'll do a witnessed one. One time, and then one time I gave myself concussion. We can get into that too. But one time I saw Spencer Mormon. He's a big, strong boy, and we are cleaning off the blocks, and he was terrible off the blocks. He was so strong of like clean and jerker, but just couldn't clean off the blocks. Like just didn't like it, not good at it. Anyway, he's all frustrated at the end of a training session, and he goes to strip the weights off the bar, and he's all frustrated, not really thinking. And so he jumps on. So he stands on the squat rack or on the block, stands on the blocks, and like lifts up. And I think it was like 120 kilos were left on the bar, or whatever. Stands there and just like throws the 225s off one side, and then he like steps over to the other set of blocks and goes to do the same, but he didn't, there wasn't enough, and the other end of the bar wasn't weighted down or whatever, and it was on the blocks. It was kind of weird. The weights didn't make it off the end of the barbell, and so instead they went just with the weights went off the blocks but were still on the bar, and there's no weights on the other side of the bar.
uh,
And so it was like a catapult. So this thing comes like flying up at him. It was like a cartoon when someone steps on a rake,
oh
but
no,
just with more steel involved, you know? And so
yeah,
this bar just like whoa, like I've never seen like this move so fast. And the collar on the end of the barbell hits him right in the forehead.
oh fuck.
Boom. Dude, I thought I saw someone die. I was
Did
like, that's
it
it.
get cut open?
And that's oh yeah, dude. And he just goes like he's like puts his hands on his knees and then takes one hand on his forehead and he goes, ah. And I'm just like, oh my god, like I didn't know. And then he like kneel down, and then blood just starts like dripping off from like under his hand. And so then he like Dave's like our coach like Spence probably go get check that out. So, like he gets up and goes in the bathroom and comes out like 5 minutes later, and he has this gnarly cut on his forehead, and it's the size of a golf ball. It's a huge goose egg, right? And
Oh,
it looked like a unicorn growing his first horn, you know, like it split through the skin, it was bursting out.
getting ready to
Uh,
sprout.
yeah, he was sprouting a horn, and then he did his squats to finish the session.
Oh shit, he did.
Yeah, after cleaning up the blood.
Oh
So
man.
that was pretty gnarly. One time, I was doing a push press, and I was building up for one rep max push press, and I'm getting some force into this barbell, and I
Mm-hmm.
hit my chin so hard, and I concussed myself. I didn't know right away, but what happened is it hit my chin, and it's like boom, and all of a sudden I just hear like bing, like I rung my bell. You know what I mean? All of a
Yeah.
sudden, and no one's else in the gym. I'm out there by myself. It was like I was coaching at 4 o'clock, and it's like 3:15 or something. You know what I mean? I'm like not by myself. And then I'm like, oh, and I touched my chin because I thought I like busted open, and I was like, oh man, I'm bleeding. And I was like, why is my blood all clear? Why am I clear blood? This is weird. So like go in the bathroom to like look for the cut to see how bad it is, to see if I need to go get stitches or something. And there's no cut. And I was like, why? Oh, this isn't clear blood. This is just sweat, you know? And I was like, that's weird. And then I just kind of went on with my day. And then later I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, well, I for sure concussed myself because one, with the way those bells were ringing, you know, for a while. And then also I was so confused. Like I was convinced that I was like bleeding clear blood out of a cut that didn't exist, you know?
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. That's just a pretty tall tale signs of a concussion right there.
yeah,
The
yeah.
confusion and the
Oh,
ringing was there you could
dude,
just stop
everything.
there.
Yeah. So that was pretty gnarly. But that's probably the most, I mean, I've shinned a box, you know, who hasn't, whatever. But
I've seen some gnarly shinners. Charlie used to have these m- red solid steel
oh,
boxes with this shitty layer of rubber on top, right?
Yeah,
And
they're
they
like
would,
you find at high schools.
yeah, and they would peel,
Yeah.
over time because they're just not very good, right? It's not made for this
Yeah.
kind of abuse. And so if you just barely miss and you caught your toe on that rubber, you're going down on that steel.
Dude, yeah. Or the box is going over too, and then you got another set of problems.
Yeah, because they're like, they were also like
Like
the
a yeah,
diamond or
trapezoidal or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
diamond exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly. They're trapezoidal shaped,
Angled.
angled. So it's just like, oh no. I think it's now that we're talking about this. I remember seeing a kid break his tib fib on a deadlift.
Oh shit.
It was
What?
he was a younger kid at the gym, and he was it was like a deadlift PR day. Gnarly. This is gnarly. Okay, so he's like fucking grinding out this nasty like arch rounded backed deadlift. He's kind of on the uh, being nice, kind of a nerdy kind of kid. Really, really
Yeah.
sweet kid, but like he's not strength has not ever been like his forefront. But he's
He's a
like getting
square.
into yeah, he's getting into the gym. He's getting after it. He's trying to better himself. His confidence that he gained since when I first met him from when he left that gym was like unrecognizable. It just shows you one of
Yeah.
the many wonders of the gym, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
anyways, so he's just grinding out this fucking deadlift on his, just shaking, the whole nine. Gets it up there, locks it out, and just lets out this like scream, like get fired up, dude, red in the face, and then goes to throw the deadlift down and throws it right on top of his right,
Oh no.
right above his knee. Just drives his fucking ankle through the bottom of his foot and just snaps
Oh
his shit.
no.
Yeah, just went from the
On
high
the celebration?
on the celebration of like and sometimes you fucking rip a deadlift
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
you throw it down as hard as you can. Now imagine throwing down, probably 350 pounds as hard as you can
Oh
right at
my
the top of your
god.
leg, and there's nowhere for your leg to go besides
Oh.
through your foot.
Ah.
It just
Oh
snap.
my god.
Compound fracture. Snapped.
Oh my god. It's
Totally
funny, dude.
snapped.
Like yours came from a celebration too.
Yes, yeah. Celebrating can, hey, being cocky and celebrating can just put you out. Put you
I'll tell
out.
you the biggest mistake I ever made while celebrating was one time I was squatting heavy with the Menuda brothers, and one of them missed a front squat. They missed some front squat they should have made. And we're all hopped up. We probably put down two white monsters in the last 45 minutes. Like we're going for it. It's all, guns blazing. Like we're yelling at each other, just broing out, right? Getting loud. And so he misses it. And so we're calling him every name you can think of, like what the hell? Yeah. And so then
Locker,
I'm like,
locker room talk.
locker room talk, someone grabbed him by grabbed him by the
Yeah.
so I told Aaron, I said, hey, grab your brother, get him over here. Anyway, whatever's going on, I'm all pumped up. So I go to hit a front squat, the heavier one, and to kind of like, it's my set, whatever. And so I'm all pumped up. So I hit this front squat, so jazzed, right? Slam the bar down and then turn around and grab the top of my t-shirt and rip it straight down the middle like Hulk Hogan. and then and then
Just
immediate regret. It was my favorite workout shirt, but like I didn't make the
oh
choice. You know
no.
what I mean? It
Oh,
wasn't a it was
you. The choice was from somewhere else.
the game took it. The game
The game the
the
game took
game
it.
tore the games tore my shirt. And so,
Oh
but
man.
it just, and I don't know why I've never done that before. I haven't done it since, but just something just took a hold of me, and my hands grabbed the collar and I ripped it straight down the middle like Hulk, and screamed,
It was
and
primal.
then
It was
yeah,
primal.
it was 100%,
It was
and then
instinct
like,
only. It was reactive.
and then 2 seconds later it was like, ah, shit, I really
Damn it.
liked this shirt.
That's funny. What shirt was it? Do you remember now still, or is
Oh
it?
yeah, dude. I'll tell you, it was a tuxedo T-shirt that was
Ah,
that had the sleeves cut off,
oh yeah.
and so it was, yeah, and so it was
Remember
like
when we went to Tim's wedding?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was from a like a Spartan race. Like there was a Tough Mudder or something, and we went as a gym. And our gym, so we all made T-shirts to go like run this Tough Mudder as a gym, and we made tuxedo T-shirts that had like a gym logo on the back. And so like a bunch of us cut the sleeves off them, so it was this like sleeveless tuxedo T-shirt. There's a story behind it. It was only like a year later. I didn't really wear it that often. I only wore it on like certain days when I was like getting after it, just like, like having a good time type thing. And then, I mean, I guess it went out in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, it went out. It went out with dignity and pride. Oh,
Yeah.
dude, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, we went to our friend's wedding, and then we all changed after this for the dinner into tuxedo shirts with our
It
names
didn't
on the
go,
back.
I thought it was going to be great, but didn't go over well.
Didn't go over well. They were kind of sticklers about it, but we kept them on,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Well, well,
we stood our ground.
stood our ground, and then we left to go bowling, and Charlie ripped out the ass of his pants on during one of his turns.
Oh God, yeah, because he still had his
That's on.
suit pants on,
Yeah, exactly.
and just kept playing.
Yeah. Hey, show must go
What
on, man.
do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Just keep
Yeah,
playing.
I tore out the ass of my pants a few times, so I know what that's like.
Yeah, I just I have not. I have not. I also just don't have a big butt though, so that's probably it. I'm not a big ripper pants. I've ripped out like the crotch before or something on some like skating or something, but never like
Yeah.
doing a regular activity.
Mine's happened dancing. It's happened dancing multiple times.
And
Like you hit.
because also those suits aren't made to move, right? They're made to like for
No.
looks only. They're not made to move. Nowadays, you can find a good brand that looks good and moves, but that
Yeah.
really wasn't a thing until
No.
2010 or late mid 2010s.
They couldn't contain this ass. When you're hitting the Russian guy and you're going into a full squat, full tilt,
Russian guy. That's a
you
young
know,
man's dance. That's a young
you're going
man's dance.
you're if you're hitting the bottom of that squat full tilt, when it's there's no holding it back because you got here's the deal is you got to have your move. Like there you're at it's a wedding reception and everyone's dancing and someone goes and they kind of hit their thing and you're like, oh, that's what he's got, like that's his best, and you're feeling it. Like you got to have a go-to, you got to have a move. you know
For
I'll
sure.
tell you the craziest move I've ever seen in person was Nathan Lowe. So
I could see that.
we're at Wadapalooza, me, Aaron, and Nathan. Nate, we took a red eye out, and then we're setting up the booth and then selling that day. And he stayed up the entire flight because and I was like trying to sleep every time my eyes were open. This dude's watching TV still, like watching movies. And we land, and he's like, "Hey, we gonna go check in the hotel now? What are we up to?" I was like, "No, dude, it's 7 a.m. Can't check into a hotel until 3. We're gonna go to the venue, set up the booth. We're selling today." And like we had been over this for sure. And he just looked and blinked a few times, said, yeah, I was a little sketchy on the plan there. And so, and so Aaron and I are just cracking up. So we go, we work the booth all day. So he's been a whole night, no sleep, whatever. That night, whatever, Fit Aid was doing a little party thing, whatever. We're over there and people start dancing and whatever. All of a sudden, Nate goes, he's in the middle. And this dude does the thing where he just laid straight down onto his back, but with his like a limbo, with his toes still underneath him. Think of someone limboing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
this dude
The Neo from the
deck,
Matrix.
hit the deck. Like he put his back on the ground and then rose back up, and the crowd went wild. It was
Correction.
one of the most incredible displays of athleticism out of a 220-pound male I have ever seen in my life.
You know, God, I'm trying to think about Nate. Describe Nate as a lifter.
He's a Division 1 hammer thrower.
He was definitely an athlete, but he just did not move well under a barbell.
Oh, he moved a barbell like dog shit. It was
Dude,
like a monkey trying to fuck a football. I mean, he just couldn't figure it out, man.
it was yeah, and he wanted it so bad.
Ah,
You know,
yeah.
that was the thing too with Nate. And you just knew he wanted it. He wanted to be a lifter so bad.
Yeah,
Just you
yeah.
just knew from the first time you see him move, you're like, well, that's just not gonna happen.
That's
you're gonna you can probably clean 150, but that's
well, I
like
think
and you're gonna maybe snatch 120 or something, and like that's gonna be it for you.
Well, I think his maxes, he actually put up some decent numbers, but they were like the thing where just the technique just didn't come together. And so, he would hit these numbers sometimes. Like he might have snatched 140 and clean and jerked like 180 or something, but it was with terrible tech. It was not
Is it
repeatable.
that
You know,
much?
yeah, but it was like not repeatable. It was straight up just like, a blind squirrel's right twice a day type situation, right? Like you take enough attempts, eventually you're bound to fucking catch one of them, you know?
He was a
But
what
then,
was he? Was he a 94 or
oh,
105?
I think he's in 94, when 94 and or 105 are both kind of between there.
God,
Yeah.
I thought he looked less than that. That's impressive still, I guess. But
Yeah,
yeah,
might have been
was.
might have been 130, 180. But I remember
I
maybe
feel
his
like
clean
I
and
remember him
jerk was
snatching
bigger.
130 and being like, I'm
But
surprised he even got that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But he was just so strong and such a great athlete. Like you're bound to fucking stumble into one eventually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, Man, I like Nate. None of this is like really meant to be talking shit on him. If
No,
he was here, we'd be having the same
no,
conversation.
no, yeah, no,
He's a stand up comedian now, so he's not afraid of getting
no,
razzled.
no. We were just more laughing about his athleticism and just talking. No, no, no. We
Oh
love
yeah,
Nate.
yeah, yeah.
Good dude. Good dude.
Hey, well, I don't know if you had anything else. There's talking about ripping the shirt is only. I'll announce that later.
hmm.
Teaser. You guys got to keep listening for something coming up here.
I was gonna do. I was like, man, I want to do a tiered list of a quick. We'll do a quick and dirty tier list of our combined conversation of like who do you think was like the most influential lifters of like USA lifters of the 2010s, early 2010s.
Oh,
And I was
influential.
thinking about yeah, not even best lifters in general. Like not
Well,
like best skill. And like I was thinking like I kind of wanted to go through like a 5-to-1 who we thought maybe personally we thought was in that bubble. And yeah, it has nothing to do with skill necessarily, but also it does. But
I'll tell you right now, people are going to hate on this, but the most influential lifter of the 2010s was John North. He
yeah,
got more.
that's our number. That was my number one too. I'm 100% in agreement with that.
And you could say whatever you want about his coaching techniques or his actual technique or whatever, but that dude, people love that guy, and he was on the circuit, the fucking coaching seminar circuit, doing that stuff. Like he probably influenced. He made up his entire technique of weightlifting and got people to follow it, man. Like he and counterculture, like he was a show. He's the show, man. And I
Yeah.
think so. I don't know if you want to go back and forth. You want to do one and I'll do one, or you want me to just name a couple others I got on top of my mind?
Yeah, we'll just start naming names. We don't even have to necessarily like keep it to five anyway. So I was like, let's just talk about influential lifters of the early kind of the boom of
US.
USAW boom.
Well,
And
Kendrick Ferris.
yeah, Kendrick Ferris is 100% on that list. Easily top five list. And then I was going to go with like an Ian Wilson.
Yeah, Ian's interesting. The
Ian's
thing about
interesting.
the thing about
Everybody was like
Kendrick,
waiting for those videos to come out of him like doing some
yeah,
crazy big lift. You know what I mean? On YouTube or on yeah, it was YouTube. He had a YouTube channel that I was subscribed
yeah.
to. He had like 20 he had a crazy amount of followers on YouTube.
The thing about Kendrick Ferris though is he didn't post a lot of training videos. He was
No.
pretty quiet, but he would show up to these. He would show up to the bare minimum amount of meets to qualify for the Olympics, and then he would go compete. But it was he no, but you can't lift like Kendrick. Like no one can try and mimic his technique. He pulls off the ground so fast,
Yeah.
and he does that weird. It's not even a squat jerk. It was that kick jerk, right? It was like
It
kind
was
of a
like a
squat
hybrid.
jerk, kind of.
It was like a
He did that
hybrid.
for
Yeah.
yeah, did that for a while, and so very influential as far as success, right? Like the most successful lifter in the U.S. for the 2010s for sure. But
Oh
I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
I'd say influential still, but just it's a different thing. Being good doesn't always mean influential, you know?
No, never. Oh, there's that's half of that's majority of the sport, right? Is good, not influential lifters. Um, but yeah, with Kendrick, yeah, I mean, I bought my first like coveted pair of weightlifting shoes was the red Adidas because of Kendrick.
There you go.
The Audi Powers, like I wanted those because Kendrick wore them. You know, like that's why I bought them. That was
Oh,
so
dude,
definitely.
I got you. You go. I've done the first. I got somebody right now.
I was gonna say Maddie Rogers. I think
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
especially for girls, like I think she was like still pretty much is like the face of the female side of the sport, right? Like I think
Yeah,
that she definitely is up there.
I was gonna say
She
Jenny Arthur.
needs to be yeah, Jenny's on there too. There probably would be like a girl and guy list, but we're just gonna start just rattling stuff off here. But
Here you go, Pat Mendez.
Pat Mendez, you
Time to
can't
rack it.
you can't you can't ignore Pat Mendez in the conversation of influential lifters.
Dude,
Remember,
I read that whole book.
that's right. That's right.
That
Yeah,
the
you sent
sport
us a
is
book.
steroids. I read the whole thing. I actually just got around to it recently. Read the whole thing. It was actually super interesting. And then especially now that Icarus, because that book came out before Icarus, the documentary came out.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things in that book that come up in Icarus. Like it's like
If
anyway,
you
it's
haven't
interesting.
if you haven't watched Icarus, it's
Oh,
arguably like one of the best documentaries in general ever made. And
oh,
I've
totally.
watched and I've watched hundreds of documentaries and reviewed 50 of them on podcasts, right? Like I watch pretty much all these fitness and stuff related. And this I would put Icarus at number 1 easily.
But Pat, yeah. So anyway, it's funny. I read it, and then like I said something to him, like, "Oh, dude, I just read this," and he goes, "It was the most Pat thing ever." He goes, "Dude, that book is a what do you say? That book is a scam." Like basically, it's something like the dude that wrote it, uh, uh, like basically when he wrote it, Pat was still like 22 years old or something. He was like still a young kid, like doing this whole thing. And the guy basically is like, he did some interviews with Pat, and like Pat, like, yeah, like signed off on it, whatever. And then he fucking wrote this whole book. And then like Pat never saw anything, like nothing ever came of it. Like the guy just owns all the rights to it. Like Pat's basically like, oh
I
yeah,
think that was his
I,
book.
no, like I thought so too. I thought, dude, because he's the main character in it. Like I thought it was like he got a ghostwriter to write his story
Yeah,
because
like
that's that.
John's book.
Yeah, because it's in first person. It's in like he's writing about it. It's in first person, I believe, if I remember right. I just
They
read it a
sent
couple
us
months ago, but
copies to CK, remember?
yeah, yeah, and but I don't know if and maybe Pat didn't send them. Maybe the guy that wrote it sent them.
Well, no, because Pat sent them because then someone went through our trash can and then mailed him those weird supplements. Remember that? Do you remember that? So,
Man, this
dude,
was a long time ago though. This
this is a
was
long
like
time ago. This is a long time ago.
2016 probably.
So what happened was this is a side quest, but like we got a package from Pat. It might not even maybe it wasn't even the book. Maybe it was like one of his supplements that he had. That's maybe what it was. He might have sent us some of his supplements that he was making for a short period of time. And then we threw our trash away. And then somebody went through our trash, found his shipping package, and then sent him these weird vials of like herb things. It was a bunch of shit. And then he sent us a. I gotta talk to Charlie about this if he might remember. And he
Dude,
sent us
I
pictures
don't
like,
remember this at all.
and he sent us this picture like, "Hey guys, like, did you guys send me this?" And I'm like, "We're like, dude, no. What the fuck is that?" It was like nonsense. And there used to be this weird guy that would always go through our trash every day, like this
Oh,
like fedora on. He was fucking weird, and I'm guessing it was him, and that maybe he was trying to like get somebody to buy this stuff from him, and he saw supplements on the packing label or something because it might have said like Pat Mendez supplements or whatever the hell it was called. He's like, oh, I can maybe try
yeah,
and sell. I can sell my creations to this, some delusion. You know what I mean? Some
yeah,
crazy person delusion. I can sell like maybe they'll start buying this stuff from me and I'll be rich or something. And they like fucking sent him like they use like an RTS basically situation to like
yeah.
send him that package with like a handwritten note in it. It was fucking bizarre.
Oh my God.
Anyways, anyways,
Yeah.
that's a
So
fun little story.
yeah. So yeah, talking Pat was yeah, basically like, dude, that book's a scandal. Like, took advantage of a young Pat, like got these interviews from me, and then just like wrote the book, released it, and like I had nothing to do with it.
Got no money.
And it's like when you read the book, it feels like it's like it feels like it's a ghost writer type situation. But like, nah, homeboy just wrote it in Pat's voice from some interviews and fucking released it.
That's crazy.
I think Pat at the time, Pat was kind of like the guy was interviewing him, and he was like, yeah, sure, like I want to get the story out there because he for sure, I mean, he talks about his steroid use, like he for sure used steroids and admitted to it. But when you read, so I think he wanted to kind of like, well, here's why, like here's what happened. It wasn't just me being, it wasn't just like this frivolous, I don't care about the rules type thing. It was basically, it was a situation where, and I'm not saying this justifies it or whatever, but basically a situation where the fact is, especially at that time, every country that was winning at World Championships and the Olympics were doping, right? Like no question, 100%. And so he's like, you know what? I'm going to show like what can an American do if they actually play on a level playing field, right? And that was kind of it. And so this was the plan. This is what he did, the whole deal, and talks about it all. And it's interesting. And you do at least myself walks away with a little bit of like you understand it. You know, you're not just looking at it like, oh, this guy's trying to. It's like, okay, I could see why somebody would, be this way or go down this rabbit hole or kind of turn this corner at a certain time or whatever. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, so that was interesting too. And he replied that to me. I was like, what are you talking? We don't talk a lot, but like whatever. We'll shoot some DMs back and forth every whatever, a couple times a year or something.
dude, 500 squat, 500 pounds a day.
Yeah,
Remember,
yeah.
remember that he squatted 500 pounds every single day for God, I don't even remember how long. It was a
Yeah.
long time. It was like one of the first
Comeback supplements. That's what his brand is called. Comeback
comebacks.
supplements.
Yeah, that was it. That's what he sent us for sure. Because then
I
somebody
always thought I
saw
always thought
that
it was boner pills.
boner pills.
That's
Yeah, it
I
was
always
right.
thought it was boner pills. You know.
Dude, that was weird. That was bizarre.
That's
Anyways,
funny.
um, also, I
But
mean,
we're
you got to bring in Donnie Schenkel in that conversation.
oh yeah. I mean, you could almost just say, and this is obviously I'm extremely
My
biased.
massage
You could
ever,
almost just say
Cal Strength.
that's what I'm saying. You could just count kind of like the early years Cal Strength team as just like a one block of influence, right? Like how many people? I mean, we're talking like, okay, arguably one of the most influential lifter coaches now is Dylan Cooper, right? With his YouTube and his team and all that type of stuff. Dylan Cooper started lifting weights from watching Cal Strength videos. And then that was
Yeah.
his dream to lift for Cal Strength. When he got older, he moved out to Cal Strength to train with Wes, right? Like he was like, oh, here I am finally. Um, and so, I mean, you look at that type of thing, right? So it's the influence just that gym and that team has had is pretty incredible.
Oh, dude, yeah, undoubtedly. And that's a quick list. Yeah, we can maybe go in another episode sometime more detailed. Um, maybe our favorite lifter kind of list or something like that. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for today. What do you think, Danny? You got anything else?
Nah, we're pushing on an hour, so out here better go.
Yep. Sounds good, man. Yeah. Well, you guys let us know maybe your favorite lifters in the comments. Maybe somebody we left off the list. Um, and yeah,
I
stay
got
tuned for
I got
next
one more
next
thing,
next
dude.
session. Yeah.
This morning brewed up some of the coffee of the month. It's that C's candy blend. That
Ah,
shit is so
yes,
good.
yes.
Honestly, anybody, if you're not on coffee of the month, like it's I get excited every month when the package arrives. Just so I'm like, oh, dude, new blend, different blend. Like it's awesome. What a nice little like piece of joy, every month.
Yeah. No, it's that's all we drink here is the whatever the current coffee of the month is. Basically,
Yeah.
I had a backload of a bunch of bags from when we did some photos with some new product stuff
Oh,
that
nice.
I just
Yeah.
finished through, but now I'm like running out. So, yeah, do coffee of the
Same
month.
way.
Subscribe. Actually, it's cheaper too when you subscribe. Obviously, you
Yeah.
can get a little bit of a break on the price point, and yeah, who
Also,
doesn't want something new?
if you subscribe to coffee from us, you get 10% off every order.
Yeah, not just coffee, all orders.
Followers. So,
So, what are you doing? What are you doing?
all right,
Come on,
Dina.
guys.
Yeah. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing?
All right.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next time.